The passage up from Sydney Harbour to Brisbane was mainly uneventful.
I anchored with 5 other boats in the charming lagoon of the atoll called Lady Musgrave Island. That night it really started to blow. With 60 metres of chain out in shallow waters, Bambola held firm to her anchor, but dawn saw 2 of the other boats in serious trouble, Varney and Moonfleet. Despite the protection of the coral reef, significant waves came into the lagoon. With my SSB radio, I called the Australian coastguard, and eventually a helicopter was dispatched to try to rescue the crews of the grounded yachts before they came off the reef into deep water and sank. The rescue diver jumps from the helicopter into the sea beside Varney. The problem for the helicopter rescue diver was that only a few feet of water covered the razor-sharp coral. Very deep water is on each side of the reef and between the boat and the island. Meanwhile, the second yacht, Moonfleet, in trouble, was starting to move across the reef again as her anchor dragged. The helicopter, having picked up the son of the owner of Varney, flies him to shore on the end of the cable, deposits him on the beach, and goes back to rescue Colin, still waiting in Varney, with waves breaking over the boat. Colin, in fact, was able to climb out of Varney onto the coral, and he walked to the diver in order to get lifted ashore. At this stage, the pilot reported he was operating in 60-knot winds, Beaufort 11, so it was fairly challenging. Because it was low water, the waves coming over the reef were now a lot smaller. One of the problems for the pilot was finding deep enough water for the rescue diver so he didn't hurt himself on the very, very sharp coral. The helicopter carried Colin ashore whilst the crew of the Ketch Moonfleet were becoming very concerned. The helicopter had flown some 60 miles from Gladstone and had fuel limits, although getting back was to be all downwind. The big square structure on the right is the landing stage for tourist boats to Lady Musgrave. It has 4 steel girders cemented into the coral to make a fixed platform. The helicopter made 3 trips to Moonfleet in order to get the 3 crew ashore. The last of the crew of Moonfleet jumps into the water. The rescue diver takes the plunge for the last time, and the crew member is deposited on the beach. The helicopter headed back for Gladstone. I settled down to wait 2 days for the weather to moderate. The glass fibre ketch, Moonfleet, had moved across the reef and was breaking up on the coral on the southern side of the island. Varney had drifted some 60 miles west to end up high and dry ashore on the beach of Curtis Island. I picked up Colin in Gladstone and sailed him round to her. Varney was virtually unharmed, even the rudder was okay. Says something for steel boats, and a very happy sailor.